Hi everyone, it's Natasha from AxelsonAcademy. We are going to start looking at some of the activities that you can do to go with the Christmas Owl books that I've been sharing with you. So the activity we're talking about today would be used after you have read these 3 owl books, which are posted online in part of this playlist. So if you haven't had a chance to read them yet, you can look back at them. Little Owl in the Big City, the Christmas Owl, and Rockefeller, the Christmas Tree Owl. And all of these chronicle the happening of a saw-whet owl being found in the Rockefeller Christmas tree. There's a lot of similarities between these books. There's also differences, and I always recommend a Venn diagram when we are talking about similarities and differences. And usually when we're talking a Venn diagram, we talk about 2 overlapping circles, and we do 2 things. In this case, it would be 2 books. And I just make a copy of the cover and put them up here. That way it's easier for kids to remember which book we're talking about. And it works really well comparing 2 things, but you can add a 3rd circle to compare 3 things. So the center part would then be things that all 3 books have in common. And then we have an overlap between these 2 book circles and an overlap between these 2, that would be in here, and an overlap between those 2. And then maybe there are things that happen just in that one book. So we would put those things in the part of the circle that just has the book picture there. Now, it depends what grade you're doing this with or the age of the child that you're doing this with. A lot of times when we are talking preschool, and yes, I would use this with a preschooler, I would take pictures from the book. I would either make a color photocopy, or if you have a second copy of the book you can cut up, that's great. And I would have them decide what happens that is the same and different using those pictures. So maybe I have a picture of a little owl. They all have a little owl as a main character, so I'd put my little owl picture right in the middle. And sorting with pictures is great. You are still doing a higher level thinking activity. So when you're thinking Bloom's taxonomy here, this is going to be a higher level process on Bloom's taxonomy's level of questioning and thinking, because students are evaluating things. They are looking at either a word or words or a picture, and they have to determine and evaluate what it applies to, which book. And that is a lot more higher level than just telling me what happened in the story. We're taking these multiple texts and we're looking at it from different points of view and different readings and doing that compare and contrast piece there. Great, though, to start even with your pre-readers. Now, by the time I get to, I would say definitely 2nd grade, probably 1st grade, I'm moving into just text. But I'm still going through with students what these say. In kindergarten, I'm probably doing a combined text and picture. So here's my tiny owl piece here. I would have a picture of a tiny owl and the words to support those that are beginning readers. It also scaffolds for those that are already reading. Put those words up there, have them link to the term that you are saying right away. It is so helpful. So I'm going to take these all off, and quickly I'm going to show you how I would do this if it was the first time I was using a Venn diagram for 3 books. Okay, so the first time that I'm going to use this, I'm going to explain to students that we are going to think about the 3 books that we read about the little owl, Rocky, the Christmas Tree Owl, and we're going to see what they have that are the same and things that are in the books that are different from each other. And we might do a quick review. Oh yeah, remember this one? This one, they call him Rockefeller in the title, and the one over here was the first one that we read, and this was the one that we read last, and they don't give the name to the owl, and that just to sort of refresh their memory. I would also have the books nearby for second grade and up, I would say give these books to students so they're in their hands, because you can have fact checkers as we go along. Anybody want to find the page in that book that shows us that we were right? And that gets students excited about looking back at text to support answers, which is something we want them doing as they get older. So here we go. Now notice that I have mine made out of Velcro, so I can go back and forth between a regular Venn diagram and this triple Venn diagram. For the first time that I do this, I don't have students come up with the pieces that we are putting up here on their own. I'm going to be the one that comes up with those initially, and our first time together is to show how we sort those. So the first thing I'm going to share is which books had a tiny owl in them as the main character. And I always start with the easiest one, and I try to start with one that they all have in common, because I'm highlighting this center block here. They all have a tiny owl in them, so I'm going to put that right here. You are absolutely right. And then, oh, I can tell on the covers, there's the pictures of our tiny owl. This one says it's Little Owl right in the title, so I know that it's a tiny owl. And then I pull out my next thing. Oh, the owl went to a wildlife center. Now this is getting more detailed here, and we might have to look back, but after we look back, students will recall that in the Christmas Owl and in Rockefeller the Christmas Tree Owl, the owl is taken to a wildlife refuge center. So that's the same between these two books. I'm going to stick that right on here. Hope that it stays straight. Okay, there we go. But in our book, Little Owl in the Big City, he doesn't go to a wildlife center. The owl was not found by a person. Ooh, so we might have to look back in the book, but only in Little Owl in the Big City is the owl not found by a person. So I'm going to put that just down here in the part of our Venn diagram that's only for this book. The owl had food with him. And this was something that you probably pointed out as you read the book, that the owl packed for his trip here. And he packed food with him, so just in that book. Oh, the owl went home to his forest in upstate New York. Okay, make sure you have a board here that this is attached to, because after a while it's very awkward holding it. He went home to his forest in upstate New York. He did that in all of these books. So this is a good time now to reiterate with your students, where do we put the facts that are shared with all of them? Right in the center. He went home to upstate New York. Ooh, he had a friend squirrel. This is one you might have to look back in and find his friend the squirrel. And sure enough, in the Christmas Owl and in Little Owl in the Big City, he had a friend squirrel. Ooh, he got trapped in the tree. And when we think about it, these two actually show him getting tied up in the tree. It talks about how he can't get out, but in this one, he's not really trapped. He wanted to be in the tree. He's like all excited there. Okay, so I'm going to say that these two, whoops, share that one. Now, I use this Venn diagram for other books, so sometimes my dots don't always line up perfect, but good enough. He was found by a man who was putting up the tree. Oh, in these two books, we actually have pictures of the worker who finds him. In this one, the owl gets there and he goes exploring. He is not found by one of the workers. Okay, we're doing well. He wanted to go to the city. Oh my goodness, this sort of goes with the trapped in the tree part. In this one, the owl gets trapped. He didn't know what was going on, but in this book, he's packing for his journey. He is all excited. He wanted to go to the city to see what was happening. He brought gifts home for his friends. Boy, this was a very industrious little owl in this story. Not only did he pack his food, he brought gifts home too. Sometimes you might decide to rearrange these so they fit a little better. The owl got hungry. Ooh, well, in this book, he packed food. It never says he gets hungry. He brought the food with him. But in these two, when he gets found, it says he was very hungry. He hadn't eaten for days. And then when he goes to the wildlife center, they feed him. Now you could stop right there, but we could even go further in depth for students that are at a higher grade level. Two of these books are told in third-person point of view, and one is told in a first-person point of view. And if you have just covered that in your standards, that would be a great thing to add in here. So these two books are both third-person. It talks about the owl with a narrator outside of that. And then this book is a first person. It's the little owl telling his own story. And then once you get this up, this is a great place to then review some of the sequence of events that happened. And I'm going to be showing you that in the next video. Another extension activity that you can do probably with your younger students, pre-K, kindergarten, remembering the events and the order in which they occurred. These Venn diagrams are fabulous as anchor charts. And for those of you not familiar with the term anchor chart, an anchor chart is a chart or a poster that stays up in your classroom or up in a room for a long period of time because you keep coming back to it. It really anchors your instruction. And a Venn diagram can be used with so many different things that it's a great anchor chart. Kids get really used to using it and seeing it, whether you're comparing two things or whether you're comparing three things. And when you think about the Common Core state standards and your particular state standards, we do have standards that require multiple texts to be compared. More than two as they get older. So to have them used to this ahead of the time is so fabulous. We see this on a lot of state testing, on a lot of just higher level questions that students get asked to do that comparison. This makes it second nature. They will be so used to talking about similarities and differences. This is a great place to begin after you have read these three books, but there's even more you can do. Please like and subscribe so that you hear about our next Christmas Owl activity. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.